and welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. Registered sex offenders are no longer allowed on county beaches or in county parks. Now, this is because of an effort by Shawn Nelson and Orange County DA Tony Rakonkis. And with us now, Shawn Nelson, to talk more about it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What prompted you to come up with this idea and promote no sex offenders in the parks?
Just prior to getting elected to the Board of Supervisors, we had an incident in Fullerton, a family that had a registered sex offender improving a home next door but not living there. They were adjacent to a park, and long and short, we found in trying to get this person removed that there were a lot of gaps in the laws dealing with where they could be. Although there are some restrictions of where they can live, you could sort of spend 20 hours a day somewhere, and as long as you slept elsewhere, you were allowed to basically occupy parks and other sensitive places within the county.
What effect have you seen this having since it's gone into effect?
What the county did is we started a pilot. We have our limited sphere of influence. What we're seeing right now is several cities have adopted a similar ordinance, which we have gone out, both the district attorney staff and myself, gone out to cities and to support them and encourage them, if it's what they choose to do on their own turf, to do so. But I know there have been several cities that have adopted it, and in fact we have received a conviction in the first case where not only a perpetrator's been found where he shouldn't be, but it was in a city, Westminster, that did pass the ordinance, and he pled guilty.
How do police go about enforcing this? If they see a guy hanging around, they might not know just by looking at him if he is a registered sex offender.
Well, it's true, and those were some of the comments of the naysayers when we were putting forth the ordinance, that, you know, how are you going to know? Are you going to check IDs? Interestingly enough, you know, police departments tend to know who amongst their midst is a risk. They tend to recognize the gang members. In this case, the 290 registrants are on a website. Many police departments have segregated people within their department that deal with the sexual registrants, and they're often known to the patrol officers. It's my understanding that in Westminster, this particular perpetrator was recognized, given a warning, because it is new, and told you need to get out, and then was later found at either another park or the same, I'm not sure which, and at that point was arrested on the misdemeanor charge of you know, being in the park in violation.
So it's giving police officers teeth, in effect, to possibly stop something bad from happening.
Absolutely, and I think really more than anything, it's giving ownership of parks where children are known to gather to the children of families that are supposed to have ownership. Up until an enactment of an ordinance like this, realize that a known sexual perpetrator that is dangerous could sit in a park all day long next to a children's playground, and the law had no ability to tell that person to leave. And in some circumstances, the best advice was to tell the family that they would be wise to move on, because there's no ordinance that prohibits the person from being there.
There are critics who say that 90% of sex offenders know their victims, their family members, and that this is a far-flung net to capture few people.
Well, that may be, you know, Aaron Runyon, whose daughter was tragically kidnapped and killed and abused by a man here in Orange County several years ago, has made it part of her life's work to communicate to people that sexual crimes of this nature are also one of the most underreported crimes. So the reality is, you know, we don't necessarily know what the true statistics are of who's being affected. I just know, as a county supervisor and as a father of 3 kids, if a sexual perpetrator has affixed himself to a park bench in front of a children's playground, that's not where that person should be, and families in Orange County should have the protection of law enforcement being able to remove that person from that situation.
All right, Shawn Nelson, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for tuning in. More HLN next.